Hi team and welcome. I'm Reuben from Link Academy, and in this session I'm going to be talking you through setting up your Xero fixed asset schedule. The fixed asset schedule within Xero will replace the big spreadsheet that you are currently using or your accountant is using to keep track of all your current and historical assets, the method of depreciation and the rate of depreciation, when we bought it, what we bought it for, and all that key asset information that we need to calculate depreciation each period. So we're going to do away with that spreadsheet by taking that information and putting that into your fixed asset schedule. So I'll show you how we're going to do that. So to get started using Xero's fixed assets, we want to click on Accounts and then Fixed Assets. And it's going to ask us a very important question. What day do we want to start using Xero for our fixed assets? And the easiest date to choose is the first day of your current financial year. So it's likely that you have asset values as at your last financial year, so 31st of March 2017 for example, and we want to take those values, the rate of depreciation used, and the method of depreciation, and Xero is going to look after it from there. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to click Set Start Date. And for me, I'm going to choose the 1st of April 2017, but you're going to choose your appropriate date, the first day of your current financial year. So we're going to click Save. Fantastic. Now it's going to start asking us to add assets. But before we do that, what I want you to do is to go to Settings and Chart of Accounts. And I'm opening that up in a new tab. If you are the one who set up your Xero, you'll recall that when we loaded in your Chart of Accounts, we set up several asset accounts. So they were like office equipment, computer equipment, plant and fixtures and fittings, etc., motor vehicles, perhaps, that sort of thing. So each one of those will fall into an asset type, and each one of those also had a corresponding accumulated depreciation account, and you'll see why that's important in a moment. So inside our Chart of Accounts, if you click your Assets tab, you'll see what I'm talking about if you're not sure already. Here we are. We have office equipment, computer equipment, and motor vehicles. Those are our three asset classes. Now, we have inside office equipment, we have hundreds. We probably have hundreds of different items, and same with computer equipment and motor vehicles. We might have 10 different motor vehicles, but all of those assets are going to be grouped into these accounts for their value to sit on our balance sheet, and all of the different rates we depreciate those assets at are going to accumulate to sit in the accumulated depreciation values here. So before we proceed, you want to make sure that you have these set up, or you have a appropriate asset account and accumulated depreciation account for each of the assets that are currently sitting on your asset register. Okay, so if you don't have access to your asset register just now, pause, go and find it, find the person who does, get a copy of it, and then we can proceed. So now that you have that screen open, what we're going to do is we're going to click Settings here. Okay, now these are our fixed asset settings, and we want to set up some asset types. Okay, so I'm going to type in my first type, like so. My asset type will be motor vehicles. Cool. My asset account will be motor vehicles. So that's obviously the asset part of the account. The accumulated depreciation account will be 731 from memory. There we go. So I'm just picking this up from our Chart of Accounts here. 731. And my depreciation expense account, I'm just going to put to depreciation. We're going to be able to see the value split by different types and classes, so there's not a lot of extra benefit in having a unique depreciation expense account per asset, in my experience. So depreciation method, this will be in your asset schedule. The options are no depreciation, so that's quite common with land, for example. Straight line is the same rate each period. Diminishing value takes the new value and applies a rate to that new value, and full depreciation at purchase means that we basically write it off the day we buy it. So if you're not at all sure about what these mean, you will find this in your asset schedule. Go and find someone who understands what method is being used against each of the assets in your asset schedule. Excellent. So I'm going to select straight line. Averaging method full month. That just means I'm using it month to month instead of week to week or year to year. Now my rate, this will be in your asset schedule as well. But if you're at all uncertain, you need to talk to somebody who understands. So I'm going to enter in 21% here, and that would be if I'm applying 21% per month on a straight line basis. So the value of my vehicle is going to decrease by 21% each period. Alternatively, you can choose effective life and say this is good. These vehicles are good for 5 lives, and it's going to take the value of your vehicle and split it evenly over the value of your effective life. But for now, I'm going to select rate. So I'll click save. Okay, so these are our asset classes. I'm going to set up a couple more. We've got motor vehicles. What else do we have? Office equipment. Like so. 711. Depreciation. Very good. Straight line, full month, and this might be probably higher, so 30%. So all these rates are determined by the IRD rate schedule, or the person who controls your taxes. So the entity that controls your taxes. So I'm going to set up my last one here, and it'll be computer equipment. Excellent. Asset account will be computer equipment, 721, and depreciation. Like so, straight line, great. If you chose a diminishing value, straight line, there we go. Cool, and for computer equipment, it's probably going to be as high as 40%. Great. So those rates are set out in a schedule on the IRD website if you're uncertain, but they should be in your current asset schedule. Okay, great. Now, inside our accounts, this is the last of our financial settings. Inside our accounts, we're going to choose a gain or loss on disposal account. So we might not have that already, so I'm going to manually create one. And this is where Xero will automatically put any gain or loss that we incur when we sell an asset. Okay, so if you like to have different accounts for these, you're going to need to create a gain account as like an other revenue type account, a loss account as perhaps an other expense type account, and a capital gain account as well. So I'm going to create one account. I'm going to put it in as other revenue, and I'm going to put it all to the same location. So let's do that now. I'm going to click on the revenue tab in my chart of accounts, and I'm going to find a place where I can insert that. So 780, 280, we'll try that, eh? So other revenue, other income, here we go. 280, success, and we'll call this a gain or loss on sale of fixed assets. So it's pretty self-explanatory, and there's no GST on that. Great. Do I want to enable payments to this account? No. Fantastic. Cool. So now that I've done that, I should be able to refresh my page and select my new account. Great. I'm going to put them all to the same account to keep my reports simple. Beautiful. So that's the end of our fixed asset settings. So what we covered there was configuring your fixed asset settings inside your Xero. Hopefully you found that worthwhile, and I'll see you in the next session.